Johnny Cash doing a Nine Inch Nails song with Hurt. Before that, you heard Leonard Cohen with Show Me the Place. We started off that set with Phil Collins, In the Air Tonight. It's always encouraging for me when someone asks about a song I play and then I get to turn them on to an artist that maybe they're not as familiar with. And that happened to me. That's how I discovered Leonard Cohen. It was, I had heard for many years that Leonard Cohen was a big influence on many artists, including U2 and Bruce Springsteen and lots of other artists that talked about Leonard Cohen's body of work as a big influence. You've heard some of his songs, even if you didn't place the name with the artist. In fact, if you've seen Shrek, there's a Leonard Cohen song on that one, right? Hallelujah. It's done by John Cale, one of the two on Shrek. But also from the film, from the Watchmen film, his Hallelujah is in that film. So Leonard Cohen, ever present in our musical landscape. And that was Show Me the Place from one of his later albums called Old Ideas. It's 10:25 here in the Rio Grande Valley. This is DJ Doc V. You're listening to Office Hours every Friday at 10 a.m. Make sure you stay tuned because after Office Hours is the Feminist Hour, which is DJ Morena Libre and her sidekick there, who's going to be talking about feminism and playing some great music. So make sure you stay tuned in at 11 a.m. on Vaquero Radio, the Valley's student station. That's Christopher Cross with Sailing on Vaquero Radio. This is DJ Doc V. Good morning, Vaqueros. 10:31 on Friday, November 3rd. It is 70 degrees, not 48 degrees here in the beautiful Rio Grande Valley and sunny skies. Looks like we might see some partially cloudy skies this afternoon with a high of about 81 degrees. Looks like for the rest of the weekend, some pleasant weather here in the valley. A high of 82 today. Tomorrow, a high of 87. Slight chance of rain, partly cloudy skies, and on Sunday, 88 degrees as a high. And then we get back into the swing of things. Monday, 89, Tuesday, 91. So we'll be going back into the 90s coming up this week. We enjoyed a nice little brief chill down last week, including having to wear, I had to wear my coat to work.
What?
I was bananas. I was like, what the heck? I know I had to wear. Well, okay, it was a jacket. It wasn't a coat, but So back to usual Rio Grande Valley weather this week. This day in history we do every week on Office Hours, and on this day in 1947, Howard Hughes's Spruce Goose flies for the first and only time. It was at one time the largest aircraft ever built. And it was built with laminated birch and spruce, which is how it got its nickname. The massive wooden aircraft had a wingspan longer than a football field and was designed to carry more than 700 men to battle. Howard Hughes was a successful Hollywood movie producer when he founded the Hughes Aircraft Company in 1932. He personally tested cutting-edge aircraft of his own design, and in 1937 broke the transcontinental flight time record. In 1938, he flew around the world in a record 3 days, 19 hours, and 14 minutes. Following the U.S. entrance into World War II, in 1941, the U.S. government commissioned, the U.S. government commissioned the Hughes Aircraft Company to build a large flying boat capable of carrying men and materials over long distances. The concept for what would become the Spruce Goose was originally conceived by the industrialist Henry Kaiser, but Kaiser dropped out of the project early, leaving Hughes and his small team to make the HTAC-4 a reality. Because of wartime restrictions on steel, Hughes decided to build his aircraft out of wood laminated with plastic and covered with fabric. Although it was constructed mainly of birch, the use of spruce, along with its white-gray color, would later earn the aircraft the nickname Spruce Goose. It had a wingspan of 320 feet and was powered by 8 giant propeller engines. There's a great scene in the Martin Scorsese movie The Aviator, where they depict this flight of the Spruce Goose. Never went into production, primarily because critics alleged that its wooden framework was insufficient to support its weight during long flights. Nevertheless, Howard Hughes, who became increasingly eccentric and withdrawn after 1950, refused to neglect what he saw as his greatest achievement in the aviation field. From 1947 until his death in 1976, he kept the Spruce Goose prototype ready for flight in an enormous climate-controlled hangar at a cost of $1 million per year. Today, the Spruce Goose is housed at the Evergreen Aviation Museum in McMinnville, Oregon. Also on this day in history, the Martin Luther King federal holiday was declared in 1983. In 2016, the Chicago Cubs win their first World Series title since 1908, snapping their curse, and they're celebrating here in Texas as the Texas Rangers win their first World Series. That just happened this past week. They beat the Arizona Diamondbacks. So maybe in a couple of years we'll be talking about this day in history for the Texas Rangers. Also, in 2000, the first residential crew arrives aboard the International Space Station. And then in 1960, Lady Chatterley's Lover obscenity trial ends. The book by D.H. Lawrence got the publisher, Penguin Books, sued for publishing prurient interest of a book, and it was controversial, certainly in the 60s. So that's this day in history, as we do every week here on Vaquero Radio. It is 10:36, and I got a double shot for you here. This one is from a rather obscure band that I just learned the founder is an alum of UTEP, University of Texas, El Paso. This is Cigarettes After Sex, and this is a song called Opera House. That was Dan Fogelberg with Longer. Before that, we had a double shot of Cigarettes After Sex. We started off with Opera House, and then their more famous song, Nothing's Gonna Hurt You, Baby. We're talking about, they're classified as a dream pop band. Never heard that term before. Formed in El Paso, Texas in 2008 by Greg Gonzalez, the band is known for their ethereal, limerent, and often dreamlike musical style, lyrics often based on the themes of romance and love, as well as Gonzalez's voice, which has been described as androgynous. I'd say that's a pretty good description. When I first heard it, I'm like, is that a woman singing? Is that a man singing? I can't tell. Their EP was released in 2012 with the song Nothing's Gonna Hurt You, Baby, eventually becoming a sleeper hit through commercial licensing. After the release of the standalone single Affection in 2015, the band released their self-titled debut studio album in June 2017 to positive reviews. So that was Cigarettes After Sex. As we do every week on Office Hours, I've got a poem picked out for you. This one is from the final UTPA edition of Gallery Magazine. So this was several years ago. But this is this poem by Ashley Franklin titled Friday Night and the Fiancé. I hate sleeping in this bed alone, everything in this house you own. There is no reprise for me on nights like this. TV blaring in the other room, phantom-like glow invading under the door like a roach, the theme song to Law and Order. No sanctuary from this deafening loneliness, or the feeling of being a stranger in this green room I painted myself. The paint is mine, like some crumpled sweaters and a stack of comic books and the dog. The only things that are mine and mine alone, engulfed in you. You. In the perceived selfishness of your perceived selflessness. The charity of taking in this stray girl. One like a mangy cat missing a tail. Another thing for you to own. a possession to put up on a shelf beside Machiavelli, between Akira and conversational Spanish for dummies, to look at sometimes, to pretend to read, and leave alone. That's a poem called Friday Night and the Fiancé by Ashley Franklin. Thanks for tuning in today, Vaqueros. This is DJ Doc V, and this is Office Hours. As we do every week, we do our This Day in History at the bottom of the hour. We have a poem generally from another fine production of UTRGV student media like Gallery Magazine. Pulse Magazine, also available, published a little more frequently. And don't forget the other opportunities to pick up fine products of UTRGV student media. The Rider newspaper, available in areas around campus. And also be sure to tune in to KVAQ TV with their weekly newscast. Of course, all of our programs also have a very distinct presence on the various social media platforms. Check us out on Facebook, on Instagram. We've got a YouTube channel. We've got Twitter. Well, I'm still going to call it Twitter. I mean, yeah, when you got to go to twitter.com, I'm not going to call it X. When it's x.com, maybe I'll call it X. But so make sure you check us out on all those platforms. And be sure to download the Radio FX app if you're not listening to us on that app. Make sure you do that. There has been, at least the Radio FX app folks have said there is an issue that they're trying to fix with some Android phones. Ever since the last Android update, the app hasn't worked. And unfortunately, that's happened to me, so I'm not able to listen on my phone right now. But you still could tune into the website. Go to utrgvradio.com and tune into Vaquero Radio. One more song left. Here's the Eagles with One of These Nights. Have a great day, Vaqueros. This DJ Doc V wishing you a great one. We'll see you next week.